I am feeling digitally connected, man.
Like we need to have an understanding of what can happen, what can't happen, because you have to start with some of your strongest material.
Right. You are going to be one of the people that are going to get left behind. It's that simple. You
All right. Welcome to the Tech School Podcast, powered by DSDT. I'm Josh.
I'm Mr. Harris.
Hi, Mr. Harris. How are you doing on this lovely afternoon?
I'm fair to middling.
Okay. I mean, hey, coming off a nice Labor Day weekend, kick back, relax. Very hot weather. Cannot complain.
Very hot. Very hot. I was in Puerto Rico.
Beautiful, beautiful. I went to Arts Beats and East on Labor Day, caught a nice Prince tribute. That's why I'm wearing the Prince t-shirt today. And also caught a performance by Belle Biv DeVoe.
Okay.
Yeah, they tore up the show.
So
they rocked it.
Let's go back to Prince.
Okay, Prince.
In the grand scheme of things, where do you rate him in comparison to Michael Jackson?
I rate Prince over Michael.
Are you what?
Mm-hmm.
What? Say it isn't so. It isn't so.
This is reality.
How do you even come on now? You got to explain that one.
When doves cry.
Dancing Machine.
I mean, there's some names we were screaming out at the concert last night that we can't repeat the names of the songs.
What from Prince?
Yeah.
Come on now. You got I'll Die For You.
Yeah.
You have Darling Nikki. You have Let's Go Crazy, Purple Rain, When Doves Cry. I mean, it's not like you have a whole repertoire song now. He has a few, but better than Michael Jackson.
For me?
Are you serious? This is going down. Oh, man. I don't even know if I can do this show today.
Prince has a catalog.
He does have a catalog, and I absolutely did like Prince. But in comparison to Michael Jackson, I guess maybe, well, wait a minute. You are, early 80s, baby?
Yeah, born in 84, so I'm 39.
That's why.
Mm-hmm.
That's why. I grew up when Michael was doing his thing.
And that's the point. I mean, when you talk about Michael, the world grew up with him.
Yeah. Since
he was 5-6 years old. There's a difference. There's a special connection.
Yeah.
That's why everything he went through in his life, society stood by him to a degree because, again, they've known him as a child. There you go.
I wonder who. Now that I think about it, who was the oldest?
Was it Jermaine?
No, I'm talking of Prince and Michael. Who was the oldest?
I think they were roughly the same age. Let me look it up.
Let's be 20.
Both died in their 50s. So wait, maybe Michael was slightly older.
This is gonna bother me. All right. And it was, I guess they both were, what? 1958?
Prince was born in 58.
Yeah.
So he would have been 65 now. Michael, let me see.
Michael Jackson, Prince, and Madonna were all born in 58.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So they both would have been, I believe, if my math serves me right, 56 this year-ish?
No, they would have been 65.
I'm sorry, yeah, 60.
65. Michael and Prince would have been 65.
65?
Wow. All three born in the same year.
Yeah. So, but I guess I believe Michael definitely had a better start than Prince. You know, he probably had more chart-topping hits than Prince. His catalog to me was stronger than Prince's. So, I'd have to give it all. To Michael Jackson,
Prince, Michael, Tupac, Biggie.
Oh, don't even go there.
We can go on and on and on.
Don't even start that.
Oh, okay. It's Biggie by.
What?
Okay.
Wait.
I'm gonna put
Tupac versus Biggie. You said it's Biggie.
It's Biggie.
Okay. All right. I'll take your word for it.
I was about to have you pull up something on YouTube.
No, I'll take your word for it. So even in my heyday of listening to all the rap music that came over the airways, I was never really a Tupac and Biggie fan like that. I
All right.
mean, I listened to them, but I'm not the guy you're going to sit down and have the conversation about who was the greatest.
East Coast, West Coast.
Yeah, I wasn't him. I was listening to some everything,
All
you
right.
know, Foo Schnickens, Digital Underground, or some of the guys that were coming out of the East Coast. I mean, sorry, that were coming out of the West Coast. Sibo, some of the underground artists, even some of those that were out of the South. So, and I love the music that at that time that was coming out of Memphis area. You had like your 666 Mafia, A Ball, MJG, Tila. So, those weren't the ones that were in comparison, I guess, to your Tupacs
Right.
and your
but still deserve
Biggies.
Recognition.
Absolutely.
It's interesting when Eminem was inducted into the Hall of Fame a few years ago, he read a long list of underground artists who deserve recognition.
Okay.
I mean, it was at least 50 names.
Okay.
Woo,
Yeah.
Bam.
Yeah. So I'm weird like that. Not even that we're going down this rabbit hole, but one of my greatest rappers of all time for me personally, Redman, Mystical, and Eminem. Those are my three greatest of all time. I mean,
Mystical during his No Limit days,
lyrical would say things that actually make you stop, rewind the cassette, because back then we had cassettes, and make you say, man, what did he say? And you just have to go back time and time again and listen to it. And so
Method Man for sure, Eminem and Mystical, they had that certain cadence.
Yep, that's exactly the delivery.
Yes,
the delivery and everything. Pac had a gimmick, Biggie had a gimmick, but for them, to me, they were more lyrically inclined with the way that they delivered that message. It was just more powerful to me than any others that I've heard over the years. So I give credit to them more so than some of the ones that have been attributed as being the greatest.
Okay.
Just saying.
Fair enough.
All right, so let's talk a little bit about this. Let's see. Irish parents take action on smartphones amid soaring concerns over children's mental health. I'm wondering.
Absolutely. I want to dive into the breakdown for this too, because it's very important information right here. So in response to growing concerns about children's mental health, parents in Greystones County, Ireland, have collectively decided to enforce a smartphone ban for students until they complete elementary school. The initiative, supported by parents' associations at 8 local schools, aims to mitigate rising levels of anxiety, depression, and exposure to inappropriate content among young children. While schools had already limited device use on their premises, this new agreement extends the restriction to home use as well. Yes.
I don't know. So for me, and then this is on the heels of everybody going back to school today after Labor Day, right?
Right.
I think it serves its purpose, for all intents and purposes. I don't know if this is the way to the resolution. It seems that we have let a genie out the bottle that we can't cork again. You see more and more younger children having access to these devices. And I don't know necessarily if simply just placing a ban on them, whether it be in school and now at home, it's the resolve for it.
I mean, I'm okay with this until they complete elementary school. What third grader, fourth grader, second grader really should have a phone?
I don't know, because it's hard for me to say, because I think about my grandson Charlie. Charlie is in the 2nd grade, I believe,
and he has a cell phone.
It seems to me like he should have a phone. I'm just speaking for me, right? I mean, I get some blowback from his mama, but I feel like Charlie, I mean, he's old enough to have a phone, and definitely it's up to all parents, right? Not grandparents or uncles or aunts. But in my mind, I think that society as it stands, that the children are more wise, if you will, than some of the previous generations.
More tech savvy.
Let's use that word. More tech savvy.
Yeah,
they're more tech savvy. And I mean, when I say that now, I think about even a Tyler or a Grayson. Tyler and Grayson are 2, and they pick those devices up and they can flip to what they want to watch and click on it and sit there and stare at it for hours.
True.
So they have the capability to be able to take the information in and not allow it I believe, to go to the levels where they're trying to ban.
With that being said, Carlos, I mean, but again, you're talking about anxiety, depression, exposure to inappropriate content, cyberbullying. I mean,
Yeah.
this is nothing new.
Yeah, I get that.
Kids still will be kids, even
Yeah.
though they may be more tech savvy compared to my generation, your generation, and so on and so on. Cyberbullying is a thing.
Yeah,
It is. It's an
It
issue.
is. They tell me
It's
it
definitely
is.
an issue.
They tell me it is. I haven't been bullied yet. I'm
Yes.
sorry. I haven't been bullied. Thankfully, I haven't been bullied yet.
Yeah, I'm okay with this.
Yeah.
Elementary school level.
Well, I can say this though. I remember when
complete that level of education.
I remember when my youngest, she was probably about 9.
Mm-hmm.
I think she was 9 or 10 when I took her phone away for a year.
Why did you take it away?
Because she posted some inappropriate video on YouTube. So I felt that
and did she even know what the video was, the content of it?
Of course she was. She was cussing.
Context?
She was using profanity.
Oh,
she knew what she was doing.
Okay. So
so I took the phone, and she didn't have a phone for the entire year.
Mm-hmm.
So definitively, I believe that if a parent feels that their child can't be mature enough with the device, then by all means, take it.
Sure.
Take it. But just to, across the board for just various reasons, it causes anxiety, it causes stress, depression. I hear that so much today. I feel as though that's the theme song for society.
You're pushing for on a case-by-case basis.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. It shouldn't be everyone. Shouldn't be everyone. I have adults now.
Some kids are more well-behaved.
Listen, I have adults that I sit.
Some adults are more mature.
I have had conversations in the last couple of weeks with adults who have said, I'm depressed, I have anxiety, I blah, blah, blah. And my answer to that is, you're supposed to. You're supposed to.
Supposed to what?
I think that we've gotten to the point in society where we are so self-critical, or we believe that the world evolves around us in such a way that if anyone says anything contrary to the way we believe, it causes us depression and anxiety. Because no one's supposed to do that. You're not supposed to challenge the way I think. I'm just supposed to say what I want to say. And I'm supposed to believe what I want to believe. And I'm supposed to do what I want to do. Enough is enough is enough. Some things are supposed to cause you a depression and anxiety, not unhealthy. Right? I'm saying that there's certain things that you cannot control in your everyday life. And maybe that's the year and the age that I came from, the generation.
You're hitting on thick skin versus thin skin.
Hasn't it always been that way though? Hasn't it always been that way? Even before we had the devices.
True.
We had a lot of that going on. And maybe this is amplified to a degree by the devices and social media and all these things themselves. However, I still believe that some of this is okay. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm just gonna say it's okay.
You make strong points, but you do know it's a slippery slope.
Yeah.
Because when you say mental health, it has to be taken seriously, whether or not someone is taking advantage of the situation or it's legit. The point is, you really don't know initially.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm absolutely. I'm not the guy. I am not the guy to be giving anybody any mental health advice.
We're not doctors.
I'm not. But I promise you, I can get some on here that can give you some. I'm just saying. But I'm very opinionated, and I want to give you my opinion.
Yeah.
Some of this. It's okay. I literally have, I've had the case where I've been told where, I have anxiety and talking to you and talking to me, right? I'm an employer, right? I have several, quite a few individuals that work for me. And when I'm told that I have anxiety because I have to talk to you, blah, 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 I don't think that that's necessarily supposed to be a bad thing. Right?
Okay. You asked me a moment ago, do I get nervous when I go on television or when I am in front of a group of people?
Right.
You get butterflies.
Yeah.
That's not a bad thing.
Absolutely not.
It makes you focus on the task at hand. It's your job. It's your assignment. You shouldn't be too loose. You want to be comfortable. You want to be relaxed, but not too relaxed.
I think
that can lead to sloppy work, mistakes being made.
I don't remember how he said it, but I know it was Deion Sanders who said something about pardon
Believe me
my
now.
confidence.
Believe me now.
Pardon my
Yes, we believe
confidence
you,
if
Dion.
it's something
believe you.
your insecurity.
Mhm.
You know, I mean, pardon if I'm just
Shout out to
confident.
Deion Sanders, real quick. Just shout out to Deion
I'm
Sanders.
definitely right.
He is prime time. He is.
Absolutely. So get what they're trying to do with this, but at the same time, I don't know necessarily if it should be blanketed across the board. Just saying. And so in other news, we were talking. College students are still struggling with basic math. Professors blame the pandemic. I'm like, here we go. Here we go. Here we go. And this is on the heels of me having conversations with
a math boot camp
with individuals that are close to me. I have a couple of young people that I've been working with over the last couple of weeks and trying to help them to figure out the next phase of life. And one I actually learned were behind in a number of classes where they ought not to have been. I'm saying, out of 4 years behind significantly. And I think that even with this study, you are finding somewhere that we have to throw the blame. And just in this scenario, it has to be the pandemic. Okay. Let me tell you something. I'm gonna be the first one to tell you, in case you guys don't know, in case nobody ever did tell you. All right. The pandemic is not to be blamed if you have not placed the work and the time and the effort into actually learning whatever the subject is. Yes. Right? Now, again, understand where I'm coming from. You're talking to the young man who failed pre-algebra in the 9th grade, passed it in the 10th, who failed algebra in the 11th grade, and I got the report cards to show it, and then passed it in the 12th. Why did I fail them? Well, it was real simple. I didn't apply myself. Oh, I'm sorry. This is like eons before the pandemic. That wasn't even, what was a pandemic back then? No. We're talking in 89 and 80, like 88, 89 and 80. I mean, 90, I mean, come on. Enough is enough. We blame everything and everybody. Does anybody take responsibility for the outcome of their own actions? I'm just wondering, and I don't want to necessarily not say that it's not a thing or that it's an issue. I give some credence to it. But one thing I do understand is that certain things are explained, but they're not excused.
Okay. So with that being said, Carlos, what are they doing with this boot camp at George Mason University?
At the end of the day, they want to help these students who have fallen behind in order that they would build their math skills that they need for these requirements of these majors that they're trying to ascertain.
Apparently, the decline in math skills is not isolated to George Mason University. Apparently, it's a nationwide issue affecting even engineering and biology majors.
Yeah.
The pandemic has had a particularly major impact on math education, with national test scores falling at unprecedented rates. So
listen, I say it like that because what the person that I'm thinking of, after I go and I do a search, I speak with the counselor and the whole nine, wasn't doing anything for 4 years. For 4 years. It's like, what have you been doing since the 9th grade to get to the 12th grade?
Because at the end of the day, most people, not all, because this is part of the reason why we are here talking about the digital divide as well in many ways.
Yep.
With that being said, most people had these at home.
Sure you did.
You had a laptop. You had access to education.
Sure you did.
Therefore, what have you been doing the past 2-3+ years?
Come on now. Come on. And again, I just don't want to just hang my hat on the fact that it was a pandemic going on and a lot of people needed those in-person connections to be able to X, Y, and Z. It's maybe some, but then I find that a lot of individuals are just simply using that as the excuse. It's the flavor of the month. I'm gonna run with it. Right. But again, mama, daddy, and I know because I have an older boy, Mark, and Mark, I can vividly remember when he was about 7 years old, and he had the damnedest time with math. He hated math. I knew then that he was not going to be the one to go off to college in order to do X, Y, and Z.
Math was not my favorite subject either. When I went to college for gen ed requirements, I had to take at least one math class. I waited until my last year.
See what I mean, folks?
Yeah.
Was that during the pandemic?
Oh, of course not. No.
Right. So I wasn't the only
Carlos
one.
Bay. Come on.
I was not the only one. I absolutely understand. It wasn't my strongest suit, but you know what? I can say this. If I go back now and I look at,
I mean, I got a B plus. I applied myself.
if I go back, and that's exactly what I was about to say. If I go back and I look at what happened back in my high school and the short time that I did go to college, I just simply didn't apply myself.
Yeah.
That's at the end of the day, that's all that's,
with
you
anything,
get from it.
Whether you have a passion for it or not, as long as you apply yourself, there's a good possibility you may still do well in it.
Yeah. Even if it's just a C.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You're used to getting the A's and the B's and you get a C. So what? It was the best that you put forth. Anyways, why don't we bring on Amber? Because I know she probably got something to say about what has happened here in the heat of this conversation.
Amber, hello.
What up?
What up? How are you doing today? Let's start off there.
I'm good. How are you guys?
We're moving and shaking, my sister. Moving and shaking.
I'm complaining.
You're complaining?
Yep, I'm complaining.
Y'all, listen, I'm with Josh on holding off the math class. I did the same thing. Like, I graduated college because I still don't know how I got the math credit. I'm pretty sure I failed the class. I don't know. Like, but I'm not questioning it. Thank you, Jesus, for he delivered that passing grade. I don't know how it happens.
Let's get her out of here. Let's get her that degree.
So what? Are you saying there's some credence actually to what they're saying about students falling behind in math? Like,
listen, math is not for everybody. Like, I was an honors English student from the time I entered preschool through my graduation. Mm-hmm. Math, on the other hand, it's not that I don't listen, I make money, I count money. Like, I know about money. If you put it in terms of money, I can figure it out. But the way that it was taught to me, it never made sense. And so I struggled with the way that math was taught, even through college. And I had many tutors. And once I started finding my own way of learning it and relating it to real life scenarios, that's when it started to make sense to me. So now I can do math. I get by. Obviously, I'm a real estate agent. Like, I have to know how to, calculate things. But in school though.
But you know what? I think you hit on a strong point as well. Now, here we are. We have so much math founded in so many of the different programs. Once you reach a certain level, whether it be high school, college, whatever, is math to that extreme needed in a lot of these curriculums?
I believe that I can't believe I'm saying this, because I used to always say, I'm not even going to need this, or I don't need this. But now I see you actually do need math for a lot of things that we don't realize. However, I do think that it can be made easier. They make it so scientific. Like, calm down.
When you have one problem that's 2 or 3 pages long, it's like, okay,
Yeah,
and I don't. Letters and numbers and all this. It's like, wait a minute. Just please break it down for me. Like, tell me I'm buying 5 Frito-Lays and I'm gonna, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna need this many dollars and I'm gonna get this many change. Like, I need to know.
I saw the movie Oppenheimer. Great movie, by the way. For 3 hours, that movie moves. I understood everything about the movie except the portions where they broke down the math.
Oppenheimer.
I can't even articulate what was articulated in that film in regards to the math process, because it did not register. I said, what in the world is that? But okay, the movie's good, so we're going to keep it moving along.
So I have a daughter. Her name is Cariana. Everybody, hi, Cariana.
Hi, Cariana.
So I remember this young lady when she was in the 9th grade. I used to take her to summer school so that she could take another advanced math class because she wanted to be in higher level math when she went to school.
Okay.
And she was she's like a math whiz. She's really good at numbers. So she definitely didn't get it from me. And
go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, I feel like from everybody that I've talked to that loves numbers and loves math, they like it because it's always true. The formula is always true. Like it doesn't change on you. Like everything else is social science for the most part. You know what I'm saying? But science is even based on hypothesis, but numbers don't lie. And so people who like predictability and people like something they can count on, they like math because they know that 2 + 2 is always going to equal 4. That doesn't change. That's the way they've always been to me.
Okay. You know, I'm telling y'all, that's why we bring her every week. That's why we ask Amber to show up, because she's going to educate me. Speaking of which, I don't know if you guys actually saw this last week, but Amber.
App is out of control, y'all. Check out this video I was just in.
Hey, it's me, the deepfake version of Amber.
Okay, now that one wasn't that bad, but look at this one.
Did you know Apple is apparently testing out a new ChatGPT-like AI bot? No, it's not all going to be AI, I promise you. But it is really trending in the news, and honestly, it's a big tech revolution.
I'm on a podcast every Tuesday called Tech School Podcast through Detroit School of Digital Technology.
All right, so I just wanted to say, I saw that. Josh, I don't know if you saw it.
I caught it.
But I saw it. And let me just tell you, I appreciate it, right? Because I know how much time it takes in order to even do content. And you, to me, are just one of the most creative people that I know, you know, and I really, really, truly did appreciate that. I want to get your permission because I kind of want to use that in some ads that we're going to run for the school. And I'm sure you didn't even know that, you know, but when I saw it come across my feed, I just thought that was the flavor of the week. So thank you. And I really do appreciate it.
Not a problem. I was concerned when I did that because I tagged you and I was like, I hope people don't blow his messenger up. Because everybody's like, what app did he use? People was DMing me like, hey, who did that? What did they use? And I was just like, I'm not telling his secrets. I don't know. I was like, all I know is the video. You gotta like follow the school, listen to the podcast. I don't know.
Hey, you know what though? I think it probably would be great one day just to like do a virtual call or something, and I can walk you through the step of actually how to go about doing it. So we're in the process of getting ready for our up and coming graduation in September 28th, right? I think 28th.
On a Friday?
Is it a Friday? I think it's September 28th. If it's not, then somebody tell me then about it.
It's on a Thursday.
Okay, it's Thursday. So it's September 28th at 6:00, another virtual graduation. And this year, I don't know if I told you guys, but the keynote speaker for the graduation is going to be Steve Jobs.
Yeah, I think you mentioned that.
So because of the technology, especially after having gone through the creation of AI Amber and learning the process, I decided that, you know, we can pretty much have anyone do the keynote speeches. But then again, any other application that you can think of that you could use that technology for, right? So the plan is we're in the process of having our one of the instructors. He's going to do the acting part of the Steve Jobs presentation. Once we have that, we will simply swap the face out and the vocals, and voila, we'll have Steve Jobs do the actual keynote for our graduation. And it's, you know, definitely one of those pieces that we're going to pop on our social media. But you know, that's where we are now.
Yeah.
And there's no reason for us to be limited. We can be limitless in everything that we think of when it comes to being creators and how we can use these tools moving forward. Cool. So again, thank you, Amber. I appreciate you.
Absolutely.
All right, let's get those only into what's happening in our tech news.
Okay, so I gotta make my screen a little bigger so I can even see. Okay, so I don't know if you've seen this. Actually, it's crazy because once I started looking this up, I actually saw it on Instagram. As I was scrolling, I noticed a carousel of suggested threads. Have you guys noticed that on your Instagram yet? No?
Nope.
No. Okay. So scrolling Instagram now, you might find, and I guarantee probably after we get off this podcast, y'all will notice it, but you'll find that they are suggesting threads in your Instagram feed. So as you're scrolling through home, you might find one and you can click on it and go into threads and be part of the conversation, which I think is interesting that they're really cross-promoting threads in Instagram.
You know what? And I think I may have seen one. I just don't remember what it was. and at the same time, I can understand why they're doing it. I think I saw some statistics a little bit ago saying how they'd gotten like 100 million adopters within whatever the time frame it was, and I can understand why. I mean, they control Facebook. You know, however many billions or millions of users per month, and you have access to that database to one, be able to get them to simply, you know, log on to whatever the application is that you produce, and at the same time you be able to show those numbers as actual users. Why not? So, but as far as seeing it on a regular basis, no, I haven't, because I haven't actually been on Threads like that either. I'm on Instagram. I think I spend more time.
Exactly, you're on Instagram, and that's so they want to put it right in front of you, just in case you forgot, because that's the thing, is there has been a huge dip in active users over. So they're growing about week over week. Their average growth rate is about 133,000, but their active users are dipping about 82,000 users a week. So it's the excitement, the novelty has kind of worn off, and now they want to get it back in front of our faces to remind us, like, hey, we're still here.
But so I don't use Twitter at all anymore. Like I said, they tore my account down, so I'm good. I'm not even going to sign back up. But at the end of the day, do you find this to be a good rival for Twitter?
I think initially that's what it was thought to be, like it's going to be a rival. I don't even think they're the same anymore. Who knows? What does Twitter even do? Twitter what? It's X now. Okay, so like,
that's true.
Nobody even knows what's going on. How can it be rival with anything when it doesn't even have its own identity?
They're having a hard time over there.
They've been having a hard time.
Speaking of which,
yeah,
X
so
known as Twitter.
No, Twitter/X is trying to be like Meta once again and allowing users to hide likes. Now, remember, I think it was last week or the week before that, we talked about how Twitter was going to start prioritizing the content that was most liked over all of your most recent content. And now it's going to let you hide likes, which is
okay.
No. So am I wrong in thinking this? I thought that one of the main reasons your content does so well is because people see that it's being engaged.
Yes.
And so they too engage with it. Because I know for a fact when I'm looking at certain content,
the followers,
if it only has like 2 likes, then I'm not going to be your number 3.
It shows how much of an influencer you are in the social media world.
Yeah.
Or at least it's a representation.
So is hiding likes, is that a good, I don't know, is that a good strategy on their part, you think?
I don't think so. And here's the thing. So I hide all my likes on Instagram. So I don't know if y'all have ever seen any of my posts, but I did that initially because I initially was just trying it out. Kind of like when that feature became available to me, I was like, let me try it out. Let me see what the difference is. And really, it's not a difference. It's supposed to like be better for your mental health and for other people to engage with the content for the quality of the content versus the perceived influence of it. So just like you guys are saying, like, oh, I'll like it if it's got 100,000 other likes, but I'm not going to like it if I'm the second person liking it. Well, they want you to engage with content simply because of the quality of the content and not because other people are engaging with it. And so that was one of the things that led me to want to try out that feature for me. And now I just do it with every post. The caveat is that for me as an influencer, it is really hard to pull my engagement rates because there's no software that can calculate the engagement based on likes because the likes are hidden. So they can only calculate based on like comments or whatever. So from an influencer standpoint, it hurts me because I have to manually calculate everything myself. But yeah, I just hide the likes because, I want people to engage with it based on the quality of it and not on the perceived popularity.
So let me, because I just heard you use the phrase again, this mental health thing we were talking about earlier, right? I feel like I need to bring on someone to kind of give us some expertise.
The aspects of technology and mental health.
Absolutely.
100%.
Absolutely. Because, just in listening to you give an explanation here, I would like to know, are we as a society more depressed and more stressed because of the technology, social media, whatever have you, than we were, say, 20 years ago? And are there any numbers to back that up?
Yes, I wrote a whole speech called The Cost of Virality that I was going to present at TEDx, but I didn't get selected. but it's only because I was being lazy with my speaker reel. But nonetheless, nonetheless, I have a whole speech and I'm going to present it. I'm going to be presenting this speech like to wherever, like TEDx don't want it right now. If they'll want it later after everybody else gets it. But my point is that there is numbers to back it. There is a science behind it. And as someone who went through it personally and like struggled with my mental health due to going viral and holding on to that virality, there's a lot of science behind it. And then also I'm in a group with other influencers and we talk about it often. And like it is a big challenge, and we're adults. I can't imagine the effect that it has on the younger, generation, children and teens.
So what? Okay, from the perspective of depression, what are some of the triggers or some of the angst that you guys have tackled in regards to becoming depressed? Or is it just simply from an influencer standpoint or from those who consume this information or content that you guys put out?
All of the above. So a lot of, and again, even if you do the most harmless content, the most like preschool content, there will still be some effect to your mental health because the number of things, like number one, you're creating something and there's always a sense of anxiety that comes with like presenting your work to the world, whether you're an artist, a musician, or a content creator. So there's that aspect of it. Then the aspect of the engagement. Is it getting the amount of engagement? Oh, it's not good enough. So then there's that sense of insecurity or imposter syndrome. Like, am I even supposed to be here? Then when it does get engaged with, are you getting the right type of engagement? Because there are people who spend their time online simply to make other people's lives hell. So they leave really nasty comments. And over time, it affects you. If you have 100 people, when you wake up and the first thing you see is, you're a piece of crap, 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 100 different people, you're like, wow, if 100 different people think I'm a piece of crap, I'm probably a piece of crap. And then you start to feel badly about yourself. Then there's the aspect of the creators who monetize their content. And so there's this added responsibility I have to perform because it's going to pay my bills. And if this content doesn't perform, I'm not going to be able to pay my bills. So then you'll see influencers who do really wild things to get more views, more likes, more engagement because they need to make money. And then that affects their mental health because it's outside of like their own values and beliefs and things like that.
Not only hurts or impacts their mental health, but it also can damage their reputation, their image, because you're just going above and beyond. You're just going to the extreme to develop social media content so people will keep hitting that like button, and really you're making yourself look wild to where that can actually disrupt potential opportunities down the line.
Oh yeah. And I've seen it as I've seen influencers grow or influencers that I was growing along with. And then, you get to points like I realize now how my growth works. And like, I'll get to points where it's kind of stagnant or it might even be stunted a little, but then it comes back up. But people get really scared when they're like, why is my following count not growing? Or why is it going down? Let me do something crazy. And I've watched them be on this path of growth to just not even having a platform anymore because they chose to do something extreme that ended up backfiring. And then it affects them mentally because then they're like, wow, like I was this and now I don't have that same platform. Now I'm not viewed the same. Like it's really hard on for the consumers, the people who are consuming this content. You have to think, like I always call TikTok toxic because it's such a toxic app. And thankfully, I feel like I've gotten my algorithm to a really healthy place now, so it's not so toxic. But for a while, every other post was something that triggered emotions in me that I was either suppressing, had already dealt with, and now I'm like, well, did I deal with them? Because they're starting to kind of come back.
Listen, but it sounds to me like you are making the argument that I heard back in the 80s when we were talking about rap music when it first showed up and we started getting a lot of the gangster music. How that music was perhaps condoning or portraying
very influential
absolutely in our communities, in that a lot of us were becoming this image because of that music. And I never bought into that argument, never bought into it. But it seems as though that is now made the round as it relates to social media. TikToxic. I mean, you're hearing now that a lot of this is making us depressed, it's making us anxious and blah blah. Or is it?
It is. There's numbers to back it. That's what I'm saying.
I want to see the number. First of all, my cousin, Devin, a cousin who he does statistics for the Department of Homeland Security, and he always tells me that the numbers, you can always sway them whatever way you want to, so it just depends on how were the numbers attributed to the study from the study as it relates to this. I would have to see all that in order to make a sound decision as to whether or not I can buy into it, because
like math, there's always variables. There's always these X,
Y
over that makes it. So yeah, you can sway the numbers how you want. But I definitely think that there is a strong argument in the favor of social media being detrimental to the mental health of the public.
Listen, I'm gonna tell you right now, if 100 of you guys told me that this shirt was ugly, I would not care. Go get you one.
You say that, see what happens. Listen, I've worked with influencers for years closely, and I'm I always talk to them about how it's affecting their mental health and stuff like that. And I always thought in my head, like, I know better. Like, I would never be until I had people telling me about myself, and then I was like, well, it definitely is different when it happens to you, and you wake up every day and it's the first thing you see, and you begin to question. It's like, it is, you cannot escape that because you're human. You're not AI, Carlos. I know you want to be.
Yeah. I mean, I buy it. I hear it, but I have this superpower where I just don't soak up everything around me or what someone says about me or to me. It just depends whether or not I believe that it actually is me. So if it's not, then I just let it fly. It just, it depends. Anyhow, anyways,
in this world of social media and mental health awareness, one thing we must always maintain: self-respect.
Oh, absolutely, Todd. All right, Amber. So we want to thank you for coming because we definitely got to get to the person who we had come, and as always, we appreciate everything about you. So
there's one more.
We got one more. Josh want to get it. So can you tell us about Instagram? I guess he's been waiting for this story.
Yes.
In the light
Carlos, AI Carlos.
Tell it.
X is trying to be like Instagram. Instagram is trying to be like TikTok. Everybody wants to be like somebody else. So Instagram is testing the ability to create reels up to 10 minutes long. And if you all know, we talked about it, I think a few months back, how TikTok now gives you the option to make 10-minute long videos. And again, it's an effort to get people to stay on the app longer and consume more content. And I do believe that there is probably going to also roll out the ability to consume television shows and things like that on Instagram the same way they're doing with TikTok. Because all of these platforms are in a fight to keep you on their app as long as possible.
Hey, believe me, they're doing a good job too. Because I sit and I can watch Instagram and TikTok. I'm just scrolling for hours.
Yeah.
I mean, doesn't the apps like tell you your usage?
Yeah, so they do. And even TikTok, like if I'm on TikTok for a while, it pops up with an ad that says, hey, you've been scrolling for a while now, time to take a break. Or if I'm going live on TikTok after 90 minutes and say, hey, great job, you've been going live for 90 minutes, you should probably consider a break soon. So
they don't do me like that. They don't. I keep getting ads saying, keep scrolling, Lo, she's doing great. I scroll for hours. Especially in the middle of the night, I scroll.
Lying in bed.
I do some of my best scrolling at night. It depends on what the content is. And I fell in a lot of those rabbit holes throughout the night as well.
Yeah.
So here it is. Perhaps I'm reaching for it before I reach for the remote to watch whatever the show on television.
Ooh.
I turn the TV on and then throw the remote. Don't even put anything on the TV and grab my phone.
Yep. So maybe that's why I'm so depressed. Maybe that's why I'm so anxious. Maybe that's why
you're not controlling your social media use.
You're scrolling
in the wee hours. You're scrolling in the middle of the night.
Hey, listen. So the other night, I just told my wife. The other night, I had a dream that these aliens came and got me and took me to another dimension. Maybe my social media might have something to do with it. I'm just saying.
Conspiracy theories too long.
Now we embark into the conversation about UFOs.
There we go. That's another topic for another day.
Yes, it is.
Amber, listen, thank you. We appreciate everything always. And we look forward to having you back next week. If they don't know where you come from, then what are all your social media channels?
Get Real with AB.
Get Real with AB, everybody. Amber Boone, see you next week, ma'am. I don't know why, but I'm starting to feel like, I don't know, I could probably spend 3 hours just here talking with Amber and you about what's going on, whether it be tech or whatever is happening. It's just, you guys are such a plethora of information.
You are a blessing too, brother.
So I appreciate it. So coming up next, we are going to have our special guest. Our special guest is not unfamiliar to Tech School Podcast. She's been on a few times. I believe she's been on a few times. I know she's been on one time for sure. And we're going to have her to come on and give us some updates about what's happening with her within the industry, as well as some of the classes that she's instructing here at DSDT. Beautiful. Why don't we just go ahead and do that right now? Her name is Mrs. Jasmine Majors.
Jasmine, good afternoon to you.
Hey.
How's it going?
Good. How are you?
You're doing all right. Doing all right. Thanks for joining us again.
Of course.
Cool.
I got a question right now. I got a question.
Okay.
You got a last name, Majors.
All right.
Yes.
Okay, you get the last name Majors. Where does a name like Majors, do you even know where did it come from?
No.
Right? Is that like, it's got to be like someone just decided I'm going to call my last name Majors.
Definitely.
Right? Okay, I'm just saying. Okay.
Because I heard it was Major, but then like my great granddad S got thrown on somewhere.
Did he?
I don't.
It happens.
Yeah, because my grandmother, her birth certificate says Major.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. We got to investigate these types of things, Josh, because inquiring minds want to know
how names change.
So my grandmother's last name was Sargent. So if hers was Sergeant and she's a major, I would have preferred to be a major. I'm just saying.
Hey, at least it wasn't turned into sergeants.
I'm sorry. I'm just saying. Anyhow, I digress. I apologize.
All good. Okay, Jasmine, bring the folks up to speed on what you're doing here at DSDT.
So right now I am teaching the full stack development program, JavaScript 1 and 2. And then this month we launched the prompt specialist, the AI prompt specialist program. And we're in week 3.
Okay, tell us about the AI prompt specialist program. What are people going to learn in that?
So week 1, we basically dive deep into understanding what AI is and the development of it. So where it began, like before you guys were born, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And then like what it came to today. Just understanding that. Then week 2, we dive straight into what does it look like when you prompt AI and how to prompt it and talk to it directly to get the best output that you're looking for. And then week 3 and 4, we take all of the things that we learned and we build projects, chatbots, different like artificial intelligence apps, and just learning how to use it and then coming up with different mocks so they could get used to building things and prompting things outside of the norm.
Wow. I mean, this is a way for people to really get ahead of the game because we're talking about AI constantly.
Yes.
And it's something that the program you're laying out, it's not even offered at 4-year institutions.
No.
I mean, how were you able to make this possible?
Carlos.
Go ahead, speak up. We need to hear that. Say it again.
Carlos Harris.
I mean, Carlos, you commented Amber and I for being a plethora of information. This program sounds to be like a plethora of information that's just right there for the taking.
And this is only the stepping stone. We have another course for prompt engineering.
Tell us about prompt engineering.
So prompt engineering just dives way deeper into artificial intelligence and how it works. And Dr. Badi here, he spearheads that. I believe it's 7.5 months with externship, but you're going to learn like Python and how AI works, like really the machine learning and the development of it, like the behind the scenes. So just more in depth.
Okay. Wait, now again, how long are each program?
Prompt specialist is 4 weeks. And then prompt engineering is 7.5 months.
Okay. Give me a breakdown of the class schedule. Do you know that much yet? Like how long are the classes? I mean, that workload for people to be prepared for?
So for prompt engineering, each module is 4 weeks. So you will specifically study or work on one module for 4 weeks, and then it'll be integrated into the next one. So it's like a stepping stone where you're building, and at the end you'll have a project to take on to like an externship and things like that. And the same thing with prompt specialist. Each week, because it's 4 weeks, each week we focus on a specific strength, and then we just build from there, and you end up with a project.
Wow. Incredible. Just give your candor on AI and how it's quickly evolving, at least as far as we know.
Well, first of all, when y'all were too busy scrambling trying to figure out who was older, Michael or Prince, I prompted ChatGPT, and it gave me their birthdays, that they were both born, but it lied. It said that Michael Jackson was 60. He would have been 64 this year. And I'm like, no, if his birthday's in August, he would have been 65. And it's like, oh, I'm sorry, I apologize. But when I asked Claude, it gave me the right answer. So
what's Claude?
It's another AI tool.
Okay, tell us about that.
So there are so many AI tools out here right now. And I mean, so many.
Which one do you pick? I mean,
what I tell
do you learn that kind of stuff in the programs? Okay.
Yes. So we do go over all of the different AI platforms.
Not all of them.
Mostly, not all of them. I'm sorry.
I can tell you right now.
Not all of them.
Because you don't know all of them.
Yeah,
absolutely.
You're sharing what you've learned so
far.
There
are thousands.
Yeah,
literally thousands. There's more coming online every day.
Yeah, definitely not all of them. Thank you.
Yeah,
most of them, the trendy ones.
Yeah,
and we go through a different prompts for each one. So I have them sit down and figure out which platform gives them the best output for that prompt. And then depending on the scope of work that they're going to work on, you kind of have that idea of which platform you want to use. Because I'll use Claude for certain things. I'll use ChatGPT for certain things, because you have to be mindful. ChatGPT only has access to the internet up until September 2021.
Okay.
Where like Bard it's Google's platform, so it has access to the internet like today. So just depending on what type of information you want, it depends on the platform.
And also take this into consideration, depending on the model that you're using. Like, I don't know which version, when she says that, I placed in the ChatGPT this information and I was given something that wasn't necessarily factual. Well, that could also depend on the model that was used. If it was using GPT 3.5 or 4 is a better version than the earlier one, and it's more factual.
4.
So it's 4?
Yeah.
It's 4. How many, which tokens are we using? Are we using 32 or are we using what? How many tokens are we using?
I didn't use Playground.
No. So different models use different tokens based on the developer's usage in the application. So that also plays significantly as to whether or not a lot of the information that you're going to get is going to be factual.
Right.
So
and that just goes into like ethics. At least, like I tell my students, when you use it, at least have some understanding of what you're using it for. That way you're not fully depending on it.
Yeah.
Because I was able to catch that, like the math ain't math. And when I corrected it and I asked it again or prompted again, it told me the correct age.
But at least gave you a starting point of both were born, Prince and Michael Jackson, both born in 1958.
Yes.
So, okay.
Yeah. So if you're able to catch that and not like run with it. So, but AI is very, 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 very important to learn. It's a very, 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 very great skill to have.
Yes.
Especially in this day and age with the way that the world is advancing. So I encourage everyone to really just dive deep into it.
Are these programs, prompt engineering and AI specialists, are these programs still good for people who have no clue of AI? Don't know, a complete novel walking into it.
Yes.
It does. I can't get off this. I gotta say this. I got. Before I answer your question, let me say this. Now, I'm thinking about how we perceive this as being not factual information in the birthday that was given. Understand that this model is not connected to the internet. This model does not have a built-in calendar, right? So it's not necessarily going to give you what you perceive as being factual data. Now, if you took it and you were connected to one of the plugins in which it could actually surf the web, then I'm sure that the data that you would have gotten or the feedback you would have gotten would have been more akin to the facts as opposed, because I don't like the fact of when I hear individuals say, oh, they have hallucinations. No, what was the prompt, right? What was it connected to? What were the peripherals that you're using in order to be able to ascertain whatever it is that you're looking for? Right. So I just want to make sure that I give some justice to that, because I think that the models do stay true quite often to whatever the task is.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
I would say it's a good topic or a point that you touched on, because when I prompted, I just said, like, how old would they be in 2023? But then when I opened a new tab and I said, if it's September 4th, 2023, how old would they be? Then it prompted me the correct answer.
Think about that. Yeah.
So definitely
again,
your prompts make sense.
Prompt makes sense.
Yeah.
And not only that, it just goes back to the original conversations we were having earlier about math. These systems are historically horrible at math. Yeah. They are. It is what it is. And we would believe that the more integrations that we have moving forward, that they will become better. And so that is the hope. But as of right now, 4 is probably one of the better models that we have when it comes to dealing with math overall. But that's just from the standpoint of being practical.
Yeah.
If we want to look at it as kind of a broad spectrum, you got them. They have the ability to be able to program, to code, give it a problem, and it'll actually work out that thing in front of you. So I think that there's more to say about the upside of it than to say, oh, I shouldn't use it because it gives, hallucinations. I think that's just somebody's just trying to point out the weakness again. As I was speaking,
look, opposition. No matter what you're talking about, there will always be opposition.
Give me a perspective. You tell me what the numbers are, and I'll make it say whatever you want it to say.
I mean, people will oppose everything. We have to keep that in mind. But what I'm really trying to get at, Jasmine, is these programs are pretty much going to teach folks the ABC 1, 2, 3 of artificial intelligence.
Yes.
That's the point.
Yes.
This is where you begin to learn more about AI and how it's evolving and where it's likely headed.
Yes, better sign up now.
Yeah.
In the road today.
And that's money.
Yeah.
That's money in the bank right there.
I heard a statistic over the weekend where you have probably around 16% of all, 16 or 18% of Americans that have actually heard of these tools. They're not even using them. Right. So as much as we think that there's a mass adoption going on right now, there isn't. So I don't even know which way to actually think about that, because I'm head over heels in love with, and I've sold everything in order to partake of it. And I just think that in the next phase of technology, this is the fire moment. This is where the caveman actually discovered fire, and we all should be trying to utilize it as best we can in order to upskill ourselves to move into the next integration of whatever the fact may be.
I'm glad I got this in my backpack.
Absolutely.
Tell the folks about this, Carlos.
AI prompt engineer. AI prompt, it is the must-have artificial intelligence skill set. And why do I say it like that? It's real simple, because not just me, but so many of those within the industries, these developers of these tools, are saying that these are the tools that are going to take us into the next millennium. And they are going to give us opportunities where we never, ever dreamt of. We're talking about quantum computers now. We didn't even know what a quantum computer was until we were able to get these computers, these systems online. And so now that they are, we have the ability to perhaps to solve things like aging. I mean, who besides Carlos doesn't want to live to see 55 at 55?
Maybe 105.
If I could live to be 105.
My grandmother would have turned 105 yesterday.
Oh, that's what I'm talking about. Love grandmamas. And not only that, a cure to cancer. Things that it would take us forever to sit around and think, and all our chalkboards and math, and it would take literally forever. But we're talking about devices that have been assimilated in order that they would be able to produce that answer, if not within seconds, a lot quicker than the smartest individual known to man. So, I mean, I just have to look at it from that standpoint and believe that it's for our best. You have a lot of things that I'm looking coming down the pipeline, and I don't mean to take away from Jasmine's interview, right? But we see a lot of lawsuits that are going on right now. Whether it be in Vegas, they're wanting to cause labor unions to become in an uproar because they hear that robots, artificial intelligence are going to be coming in. They're going to be taking over bartending, a lot of, the service jobs that they have. And then you have authors that are wanting to sue OpenAI because they say that a lot of their materials have been plagiarized. Then you have New York Times wanting to sue OpenAI because they're saying that they're going to be in direct competition with what they put out and they want to license it. I say enough is enough is enough is enough.
Carlos, again, with anything, brother, racial equality, women's rights,
right,
voting rights, right, the legalization of marijuana, or decriminalization of marijuana, okay, artificial intelligence, there's always going to be a debate. And that's just what we have to keep in mind.
That's going to be a great debate, but even more so, the writing's on the wall.
The writing is on the wall.
The writing's on the wall. I often equate
decriminalizing marijuana.
We're there.
Racial equality. I mean, again, everything, there's always a process.
Absolutely.
There's always a process with anything. Artificial intelligence is the latest conversation.
If you are the individual that sits on the other end of this podcast and you believe that the government is going to regulate or going to judge against a company that has introduced a tool like this, you have to get to be bat bloop crazy. You have to be, because it's not going to happen. As I've stated, the genie is out the bottle. Yes. It's not going to be corked again. And you need these classes that Jasmine is teaching. And if you didn't hear, Dr. Badi, Dr. Computer Science, Badi, are teaching here at DSDT, because no matter what industry you are in, you are going to feel the effects ultimately of artificial intelligence in some shape, form, or fashion. Now, we may not have been making this argument, say, a year ago as it related to blockchain technology and crypto, right? Year ago, everybody was whirlwind into NFTs and all of that hoopla, and still are to a degree. You just don't hear it as much. But artificial intelligence, I can guarantee you, come back in another 50 years, look at this video, it won't be YouTube. I can tell you that right now. YouTube would not be the thing. You might be looking at it through a hologram that some AI a program developed that may bounce off your skin, and you'll be looking at it as if it's just there. And it'll be my video telling you that I told you so. I told you so. Why you didn't get ready? So
with that being said, it's time to get ready. Jasmine, when are classes beginning?
They've already started.
They've already started. Okay, so it's too late to enroll in the current program. Like, give me the dates when people can enroll into the 4-week program, 7-week program, etc.
The week after next.
Okay.
The week after my next
how about
class.
this?
The week after.
Call DSDT.
Yeah, call today.
Inquire more about the prompt engineering program and the AI specialist program. Okay, call and inquire, and then we can figure out the dates. There you go. There you go. That information right there.
Absolutely.
All right.
Absolutely. Jasmine, we appreciate you. We thank you once again for coming on here and enlightening us. I think that we couldn't have asked a more suitable instructor to actually do this program. I mean, Jasmine is kind of like me. I think not only is she a creator, but she continues to educate herself. And when you're talking about this industry, which wasn't here 2 years ago in this form. Now, of course, artificial intelligence, it's been around since, I don't know, Dartmouth in 1957 or so, right? So it's been around, the conversations have been around for quite some time. But this particular application, the mass society having access to it, it hasn't been. This only became a thing as of months ago. And so we are one of the first, specifically, I think, here in our area, to be able to give you access to a class to where you can get trained in order that you would be able to utilize this. Now, a minute ago, she said, well, ask Carlos because blah, blah. It's real simple for me because I'm old enough. I remember in 2000 when Microsoft Word, PowerPoint, Access, Excel were classes. I took them. I got a certificate for business computer technology. And knowing what I know from then, I also know that this isn't going anywhere and more people need to have access to it and be able to utilize it so that you don't get the same, unfactual information and a bad experience that Jasmine possibly would have had a moment ago. So how can we get you prepared to be able, one, to upskill yourself, to utilize it in your current job? That's what we're trying to figure out. If you contact us, we have admissions representatives that can help you get enrolled for the class, whether it be the 1 month or the 7.5 month, but we definitively have one for you in no matter where you are. So definitely reach out to us and we'll try to get you in one of those upcoming classes ASAP. All right.
Beautiful.
Jasmine.
Yes.
Thank you.
You're
And
welcome.
in the words of the great Carlos Harris, you know what I always say?
What?
You can. All right, Jasmine Majors, everybody, not Sergeant.
Yes.
Majors.
Majors.
Talk to you
Jasmine
soon.
Majors.
Thank you, and see you next week. See you soon. All right. Bye.
Great episode, Carlos. Great episode.
Yeah.
You're gonna run a boot camp class for the AI stuff?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah. Apparently, Jasmine must thought that we was off as of right now, and then nobody tells.
It's all good.
So Josh.
All right, I'll get us out of here so Jasmine can get back to work and teaching these incredible classes here at DSDT. That will do it for the Tech School Podcast, powered by DSDT. See ya.